Hi everyone, Raquel here from scrapcosy. Today I'm going to show you how to create these 4 ATC cards very easily. I'll be using my very first stamp that I released with PaperArtsy, ESC01, as well as one stencil, PS133. Okay, let's get started. First I'm going to trim my paper. I'm cutting it to a standard ATC size, so 2.5 by 3.5, and I'm cutting 4 of these, and then I will cut 4 more which are slightly smaller, 2.25 of an inch by 3.25 of an inch. And then once I have those 8 pieces, I'll start working. So as you can see, one nests into the other. So I'm going to prepare the background, so I'm working on the big pieces, the 2.5 by 3.5, and I'm applying some infusions, Rocky Road. I'm spritzing some water, and then I'll use the brush to extend that mix. What I actually want is to achieve a brown, and as you see, this was very light, so I will keep on transforming these papers until they are the color that I like, and you'll see in the video that I keep on going and adding more color and more color. I thought these were smoothie papers by PaperArtsy, but it's another sort of smoothie paper from a different brand. I don't know which one it is exactly, but I can tell it's not smoothie because actually it absorbs too much water and there are some zones that are very dark. So well, anyway, they work. So now I'm going to stamp my images using the stamp set ESC01. So I'm going to select the 4 little flowers, and then I'm going to use Archival ink, in this case potting soil. I'm going to ink up that stamp set that is attached to this acrylic block, and I'm going to stamp all the flowers kind of in the same position. The thing with the ATCs is that, well, these are artist trading cards and they are supposed to belong to a collection, so they kind of need to resemble or look similar. So that is why I'm kind of choosing the same display or layout and then choosing the same sentiment on all of them and the same techniques, so they kind of seem of the same collection. Once everything is stamped, I'm using the stencil and I'm putting Bloom Like a Rose in all my cards, and I'm using a different ink just because this one is more juicy, and I'm using a cut and dry foam piece, and I'm just applying it through the stencil using that sponge. And as you can see, I get full coverage, and this is because I'll apply one of my favorite techniques that you may already know if you follow me, which is the bump effect using Grunge Paste afterwards, but you'll see that later, because now we are going to do something different. We are going to add some color. I'm going to use Violet Storms first for the pea flower. So I'm just mixing it with water, and then I'm watercoloring all those petals, and this is a very fun and quick technique to just add color to your images. Again, I can tell that this is not smoothie paper because the way that the color and the water reacts, it kind of gets absorbed, and then the fibers get too dark while they are wet. Once they are dry, they will go back to a less dark color, but it's just weird working with this paper. Okay, I'm going to use Sunset Beach now, same thing. So apply it to the graph sheet, put some water, and then I'm just watercoloring my images. And depending on the amount of water and the amount of infusions that you had, you will see that you have darker colors or lighter colors. So here, color is pretty dark, and then in this one, I'm just adding less color, and as you can see, the pink is less strong, it's more subtle. So this is like a translucent medium, so you can add it as much as you like. If you want to add another layer or more shadows, you can always do that. Now I'm going to switch to Olive Tree, and I'm going to color all my flowers, all my leaves. So I'm just going to mix a lot there, and once I'm happy with the green color, I'm going to add that everywhere. Even if the sweet pea doesn't have proper leaves, I'm just adding color on those branches. It's a watercolor, so it will look nice, don't worry. And once I'm done with that one, I will switch to the next one. Here the Thunbergia, or however it's called. I love this plant, it's very nice, and I don't know why I always envisage it in color yellow. Maybe I'm wrong, and this one is one of those that it's fully pink. But yeah, I will paint it afterwards in yellow. That's the color that I'm leaving to the end. So I'm just adding the green now, it doesn't matter the order. And then same for that flower. Same with the sweet pea, I'm just adding the green there, even if there is no space to color, you just add the green and it's like a watercolor. And finally the agapanthus, which is lovely, I love that flower, it's so beautiful. So I'm just adding that green over there and we will be done with the green. So the final color will be golden sands, which is my yellow, and then I'm going to add that color to the thunbergia and just adding it there. Since it's too dark, I'm just trying to retrieve that water, and I'll just get a piece of towel and then get it out. So I'll add all that colors in all the petals, and then with the remaining yellow I'm going to paint all the background from all the cards. I'm just adding more water and picking a brush, and I'm just doing a quick wash. And here this is too light, so I'm setting it aside. That one I will add more color later, and I'm mixing more color for the rest of the cards. So that one I like it better, and that's the color that I'll go for on all of them. And this totally adds a vintage look to everything in just a very simple and quick step. But then this is not vintage enough for me, so I'm just spraying some water to add some watermarks, and then I'm adding more infusions in the graph sheet, more water. Then with a splatter brush, you could use a tooth brush if you wanted. You can just add splatters of dark color here and there, and that will add a very nice vintage look. And I'm focusing a bit more on the bloom like a rose side rather than on the flowers. And once that's there, I'm just cleaning my surface, and then I'm going to heat set those 4 papers. You will see that the paper goes back to being flat once this is fully dry. And then I'm going to just add some vintage photo distress ink to the borders of those papers, because that will instantly create like a vignette look, and it will make that the paper doesn't look flat, that it has some sort of volume, and it will focus your eye to the middle of the card. And it also removes any whites from the side of the paper. That will look even nicer. And once that's there, then I'm going to just try and frame this. So I'm just going to tweak a little bit more my background. It's a sort of brown that to me is still a bit too light, so I'm going to add some more golden sands. I used before Rocky Road, that was the color that I got, like a chocolate look, but now I'm adding that golden sands darker, so it will add like a more sepia tone, if you wanted to call it that way. And I only need to paint the outside, because as you can see I'm going to mount this in the middle, so I'm not bothered on the center of that card. So I'm adding that there, and then I'll heat set those, and once they are dry I will assemble everything together. I may even tweak a little bit more with some ink. I don't know now. Yeah, here I'm there, adding a little bit more ink on the edges and checking how this looks. So it's not dark enough, so I'm just adding that ink. And now I'm going to add Grunge Paste on top of the stencil part, using the same stencil, a palette knife, and this Grunge Paste, which is a texture paste based on plaster. It works very well. So I'm going to place the stencil exactly where it was, and then I'm going to shift it up and left so it casts a shadow down and right. So I repeat that again, up and left, and then the bigger the gap, so 2 or 3 millimeters would do nice, the bigger the shadow it will be. So you apply it like if it was butter, and you clean your stencil with a spatula. Once everything is clean, you can tap a little bit to add more texture, and there you go. It makes like a shadow. So I'm going to repeat that in all the 4 cards. So put it in the same place and shift it up and left, and apply the little bit of Grunge Paste. This paste, I love it. I mean, you may know this by now if you follow me. I really like it because it dries super quickly, but if you are in a rush and you don't want to wait, you can always heat set that with the heat tool, and you will not make any mess and it will not blister, so you can move on to the next stage. And then, well, basically it can also be colored. You can add paint on it, you can add infusions on it, and then you will tint it. And the good part is that it doesn't have any white pigment, so you can add paint and then it will not pastelize your paint because it doesn't have a white base. So you will get the full color of your paint in this paste, which is great. And there you go, the third one. Heat set that a little bit, and we're going to apply the fourth one there. I really love this result. And when you lift it, it's like, wow. You just see the shadow and it's, wow, lovely, isn't it? Okay. So now, once everything is dry, I'm going to mount everything in place. I'm just checking that they fit right and that it's okay to go. And once I'm ready, I'm going to just, I'm coloring a little bit, adding some color on those white and stencil part with the Grunge Paste, so it's not that white. It's not very, very white, but still, I wanted it to be a bit more muted. And I'm going to add some ground espresso distress ink on the edges, just a little bit, focusing on the corners to add an even darker frame. So I'll just add it on all of them, just in the corners. And this is almost done. It's just adding the finishing touches, and well, I don't know, I really like to make things grunge, so I keep on working and working. And now I'll assemble everything with a double-sided tape. This is a runner. You could use any other sort of glue that you wanted, but just to be quick and dry soon. It's just, well, this dries instantly basically, it's not wet. So I'm just trimming there a little bit, and because I added some white while cutting, I'm just aging a little bit so I don't get that white edge. And I'm going to mount everything in the same way, so just that double-sided tape adhesive on the back of each of them and mounting them. So there's not much more that I need to do. It's just assemblage at this point. And I really like the result. Originally I only wanted to create 3 of them, the ones that actually fit inside, so those last 3, not the first one that I put upside down, but I like the fact that they are 4 cards and they belong to the same collection. So I'm going to show them to you now in camera so you can have a look. And after this, I'm going to display some pictures with close-ups so you can see more the detail and everything that I achieved. So here they are, the 4 of them. And then I'll add each one of them so you can see all this goodness that we applied with so many layers and so many different mediums that we use. Not many, as you see, lots of infusions and some of distress inks. And well, this is almost done very quickly. I hope you like it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up in this video and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the future videos to come. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!